Capricorn. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for July of 2022. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
I'm Julia Mikos in New York.
Well, Capricorn, your month's themes have a special emphasis on romance and relationship, veering into the deeper waters of intimacy too. If anything comes up for you during this horoscope that you need answers for, Julia and I can be found at the links in the YouTube description below. You would probably want a lifelong love reading to explore these relationship themes. So you can find us and we'd be happy to help. I want to start this horoscope with a couple of asteroid goddesses that I love, most particularly Ceres, appearing here in your 7th house, and Juno, which appears in your 3rd. Ceres has to do with food, body, and money, the things that connect us to the physical world. She is traveling through your 7th house of partnership, which is really bringing you into a lot of wanting to bring your relationship into alignment financially and to be sure that you've got really good partnership around your finances. So that might mean that this transit has brought you into connection with a new financial planner or a new CPA or a new bookkeeper who can partner with you to make your finances better or better organized. And that would be a really good use of this transit. And I would suggest that if you have been feeling the urge to do that, but you haven't done it yet, that you should do it on or by this date right here, July 20th, 21st, 22nd, right around there while the sun is conjunct Ceres. This is what I like to call Financial Epiphany Day, and it happens about every year and a half. And this happens when the sun conjuncts Ceres while Ceres is moving direct, in other words, forward at her maximum speed. And so this is a time when the spotlight of your attention can be well trained on your finances. It does also apply to how you eat, like your food life and your bodily self-care routines too. I do like to focus it on finances because I think people find that very interesting. So this transit is a really, really good time to enter into a new relationship with somebody who can help you plan your finances in a way that supports you. So right after this, though, Ceres is going to move on into Leo. So that begins around July 23rd. And I have to caution you that while Ceres is in Leo, people can become a little bit spendy, and that may be going on for the rest of the month and into the next month because Ceres generally spends about 2 months per sign. So while Ceres is in Leo, beware of spending money on things that are not quite worth what you're paying for them. In other words, you might find that there is a special allure of things that are priced high because you think that they should also be worth what they're priced at, and they might not be. So have a caution about that, especially because Ceres is moving into your 8th house of investments. And in particular, be thoughtful and cautious about taking on debt during this transit, and make sure that you're getting good value for the debt that you're taking on. And if it does pass your smell test for value, then go ahead and engage in it. But definitely make sure that you're not overspending on that debt that you might want to take on. Okay, let's talk about Juno over here in your 3rd house. And Juno is turning retrograde this month. Here you see there's no little red RX, which means that Juno is direct, moving forward, and then boom, there is the little red RX, meaning that Juno has turned retrograde. Juno is going to be in your 3rd house for several months to come while she is on her retrograde journey, which happens about every year and a half or so. And it lasts usually for several months. 3 or 4 months. And Juno takes us on a relationship retrospection. And we've made a video about this where you can find out a lot more about what Juno's what Juno's relationship retro. I don't know why I had to make myself a tongue twister for a title of that video, but what Juno's relationship retrospection period means and how to handle it and its exact timing so that you can know what to do in certain phases of it. So what I want to let you know right now is where this lands for you specifically in your house structure. Because this Juno lands in your 3rd house, a lot of this retrospection period is going to be about communication. How do you communicate with your partner? Do you really understand your partner? Does your partner understand you? When you talk, is there a good conversational rhythm? And is there anything that you can do to make it better? So I think that a lot of communication themes are going to come up for you during this relationship retrospection. And it's a really good time to fix those things in your relationship. And definitely check out the video about Juno in Pisces, because it talks about the deeper underlying themes and issues in your relationship that this might bring up too. Hey, Julia, what have you got to say to the Capricorns of the world about Mars, Mercury, and Venus?
Lots of activity going on this month, Capricorn. We'll begin with the more challenging planet, which is Mars. Mars is only challenging because wherever we have Mars, we can face a little bit of conflict, a little bit of frustration. But Mars, like every malefic, and Saturn is the other one, does have a higher side to it too. Wherever we have Mars, we can be very, very driven, and it can be good for getting a lot of stuff done. So Mars begins the month in your 4th house of family and home. And Mars in the 4th just means that there is a lot of activity going on in the home front. There might be a lot of kind of emotional engagements with people you live with. You might not be seeing eye to eye with family members. It is a wonderful time to get a lot of stuff done at home. So I suggest starting the month getting through a big to-do list for the first few days of, maybe projects, maybe errands you need to do to make your home a better place. And then on July 4th, Mars enters your 5th house. This is a very fun house. It represents creativity. It represents your kids. It represents any games you play with. And having Mars in the 5th means that you're going to be a lot more focused, a lot more driven on having fun than maybe doing a lot of hard work or being super responsible. Now, if you do have children, this can be a time when, maybe they get on your nerves a lot, because kids are excellent at pushing your buttons and they just know which buttons to push. They might be kind of, whether it's a little kid, a toddler, or a teenager, they're finding a way to push your buttons this month. Mars in the 5th can be a good time because the 5th house can represent sports. If you have any kind of physical, if there's any type of physical games you like to play, this can be a wonderful time. If you're a part of any sports teams, it's good to definitely get out the energy this way, or to get or to do something creative that involves like your physical body too. In some way can also be very helpful. Now, Mercury is the next planet I want to talk about, and Mercury represents your mind. Wherever we have Mercury, we tend to be very mentally preoccupied that month. And Mercury spends the first few days of the month in your 6th house. And there's a lot of overlap between the meanings of Mercury and the 6th house. So this part of the transit, Mercury really feels at home here. The 6th house is the house of work. So you could notice that you might be socializing or connecting more with the people you work with, or that could even include coworkers, clients, customers, even your boss too. And Mercury in the 6th can be a wonderful time for getting organized. So first few days of the month, you can just kind of get your ducks in a row. Maybe you got to organize a closet, maybe you have to organize your hard drive, but it's a wonderful time for that. Then on July 4th, Mercury goes into your 7th house. And the 7th house represents your long-term relationship. It represents any partnerships you're a part of, like a business partner. It also represents consultants, so the people that you hire to give you advice, like a doctor or lawyer. So Mercury in the 7th house means that you're going to do your best thinking if you've got another partner that you can bounce your ideas off of. Mercury in the seventh house, if you're in a relationship, you may enjoy spending more time just talking, communicating, and sharing ideas with your partner. And it can be a lovely time if you need to consult somebody to help give you advice and make those connections and strategies in your life. You know, good time for a lawyer, good time for a doctor. Then on July 16th, Mercury is going to be exactly conjoined the sun, and we call that Greater Epiphany Day. It can be a time of insights and revelations regarding wherever Mercury is in your chart. So in the seventh house, you might be having some aha moments, some insights into your romantic partnership, into your marriage. And it could also be a time of those insights affecting the people that you hire too. Like, oh, wait, maybe I should get a second opinion. Maybe I should hire somebody to look over this for me. And finally, I always like to say a few things about Venus. Venus changes houses about every month, and she brings a little pleasure. She brings a little luck wherever she goes. She can represent your romantic partnership, and she's also the planet of just harmony. So Venus starts the month in your sixth house. It's going to be there till July 17th. So that means that, you know, you might, like I said, you know, you might be connecting a lot more socially through that with people that you meet through work. Again, coworkers would fall under that. People, maybe your customers, maybe even your boss, but it's a really, really good time for getting along well with the people that you work with and just having a little bit more fun at your job. Venus in the sixth house can be a great time just for health, giving you a little bit of a boost to your health. But the sixth house can represent health routines like dieting, and Venus is not into dieting. She just loves sweets and snacks. So if you do have a diet, it might be a little hard to keep up with the first few, you know, couple of weeks of the month, but Venus in the sixth overall is good for your health. And then on July 17th, Venus enters one of her favorite houses to be in, which is your seventh. And that again represents your long-term relationship, your marriage, even consultants. So yeah, really good month for hiring people if you need to. With both Venus and Mercury in the sixth there. And I mean, in terms of your long-term relationship, this is just a really great harmonious period. You know, try to plan out some date nights with your partner because you'll be feeling a lot more harmony. And, you know, especially if you guys have been going through any rough patches lately, this is the time to just smooth everything over and just fall in love with each other again. And for the single Capricorns out there, great time to meet somebody new after the 17th.
Love it. Well, I want to tell you about the two moons and seasonal change this month, starting with the full moon in Capricorn, right here, falling in your first house because you are Capricorn. And so it's very easy to feel that a full moon in your own sign affects you quite personally. It can really bring high emotions, as full moons tend to do. And with the moon here in the first house, you might feel like a lot of emotions are surging for you and that it's hard to hide them. On the other hand, we have the sun over here in the seventh house, and there can be an oppositional quality to a full moon because the sun and the moon are literally opposed to each other. And so there may be conflicts in your partnerships with that. And so, I mean, really, the reason why I may seem like I'm putting a kind of a negative cast on this moon is because Chiron is squaring the sun and the moon, and Chiron tends to trigger a healing crisis and to really make us aware of the divisions. And so with the moon on one side, bringing you perhaps some emotions of your own and feeling perhaps neglected or even needy. Even Capricorns have needs, right? And while the sun on the other side might be showing up in a behavioral way in your partnership, in other words, your partner maybe does something that hurts your feelings, this involvement of Chiron says it's time to strike a better balance in your relationship. And if you feel that you're generally being neglected in your relationship, it might be time to correct that. Now, this particular moon involves a lot of help, which is great. Juno is here sextiling the moon. Neptune is as well. Uranus is over here with the North Node, also harmoniously trining the moon. So this moon involves a lot of help. And so if the conflicts do come up and there is a sort of a feeling of division or separateness or, a crisis of separation, then I think that these other planets stand to help and support the balance being struck. You can find out about this moon, which we are calling Healing with Lots of Help, on our July 2022 forecast page on our website, pandoraastrology.com. So the next thing that happens is that the sun will move on out of Cancer, where it has been bringing a lot of attention to your relationship life. And it's going to move on into your 8th house right here, which is also about relationships, but a little bit different cast on them. In particular, the 8th house has more of an intimate and deep feel, whether that's a personal relationship, and this is the domain of emotional sharing and merging and sexuality, or whether that's a business relationship, and this is the domain of the monies that you share and the finances and the ways that you are merged in that realm in your relationship. But suffice it to say, wherever the sun goes, the sun brings the sunny warmth of attention, and casting the sunlight of your attention within this domain is a good thing to do. Now, the 8th house can be dark. It can be mysterious. It's one of the hidden, more obscure realms in the chart, being a water house. It doesn't always like being looked at too closely. But I think that especially with Mercury already being here when the sun arrives, that putting some high quality, warm attention into the arena of the monies that you share with partners, whether they be business partners or spousal, this is a really good time to do it. And also paying attention to your investments, whether that means the people that you invest your heart into or the places where you've put money or borrowed money. And so the places where others have invested in you, right? And so paying attention to your investments and really looking at them in the light of day is a good thing to do during the time, the season of Leo, while the sun is traversing your 8th house. So that's about a 30-day period, and it begins right here, July 23rd. And then the last thing I want to tell you about is the new moon, where the moon in Leo lands right here with the sun in your 8th house, bringing her illumination to this arena, which is more emotional in nature, the moon being all about emotion and feelings and intuition. So she brings an intuitive quality to this, I don't know what to call it, like lighting up, lighting up of this house. And this particular new moon we've called, where is it? Seeds of Creativity Can Expand Endlessly. And it's a really wonderful new moon because appearing in Leo, it has a very creative and expressive and even playful feeling to it. And it forms a beautiful trine over here to Jupiter. And Ceres is involved in this moon too. So those can be some very financial seeds of creativity as well. So there's a lot of luck and harmony embedded in this moon. Now, remember my caution about being too spendy with your investments while Ceres is in Leo in your 8th house. However, I do want to say that seeds that you plant can have a lot of room for expansion. And if you are wise and clever and paying good attention, and you plant those seeds in a most intelligent way, then the ways that they expand have no limit. So that's some pretty good stuff. Well, Capricorn, hope you enjoyed this horoscope that we made for you with love. You can always find your horoscope for your sun sign and also for your rising sign on our website, pandoraastrology.com, in the horoscope tab. And if anything here makes you curious about a reading, you can find the readings tab on our website, and you can find us there and schedule with one of us, actually. And If this makes you curious about learning more about astrology, then you can check out the classes tab too, because there's lots of good stuff there. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.